everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a little while since I've uploaded a video and I'm sorry about that. All I can say is life has been happening and I just haven't taken the time to pick up the camera. Anyway, it's the Easter weekend and we don't have much planned. It's just going to be a lovely weekend at home in this fabulous weather. I'm going to spend it doing some antiquing, some charity shopping, some gardening, just all the things that I love. Right now, I'm off to a local charity shop, so without further ado, let's go. So in my vegetable garden in front of our wood store here, well, one of our wood stores, we've got this patch here with wood chip, and every year we need to top it up with fresh wood chip because it does rot, and so you need to maintain it. And we were lucky enough to get a whole load from my parents' estate, so there's a fresh layer ready for a new year. It is time to plant my tomatoes. I bought these fun tomatoes at a tiny little garden centre recently. So it's time for them to go in. I've got a normal cherry tomato here. Also bought this Cœur de Boeuf, which is going to provide these enormous tomatoes, which is going to be great. I got this rather interesting Andine Cornu, which I'm intrigued by. Then a black cherry, and then this one is a Roma tomato. So I'm going to put these in. Then I also got this rather fun looking African garlic, society garlic. So I'm going to put that in my herb bed. And then, as every kitchen gardener will know, you need marigolds for the health of your plants. everybody. As promised, I'm going to show you everything that I've bought recently, so I'm going to get straight into it. First things I've bought are wedding related. Well, lots of this is actually wedding related. Brass candlesticks, I'm going to use these around the tables. Picked up a couple. These are actually quite small, but I know I can cut these to size, so that'll be perfect. These were $1.99 each. And then this big guy, I got this at a local charity shop that were doing 50% off on everything. So this was €7 and I got it for $3.50, so I'm very happy with that. Something that's not wedding related are these little tiny crystal salt dishes. Very old-fashioned, but when I do a fancy table, I like to be a little bit old-fashioned and traditional. And in the olden days, in like the grand houses and on the fancy tables, instead of like what we have nowadays, we reach across the table to get the salt and pepper, or we ask someone to give it to us, they would have these little tiny dishes at each place setting, so everybody had their own salt and pepper. So I like to use this kind of thing. I like to be traditional at certain points, so I couldn't resist these, and I think they were like 50 cents each. I mean, there's only 3 of them, but when I find more, I can mix and match, and I love that idea. And they would have tiny little silver spoons. I've got those that can go in there. Absolutely love that. Then another wedding thing, the big basket. I mean, I'm going to use lots of these baskets in our wedding. Different decorations with flowers, anything really. Right now it lives up in our bedroom. I'm going to keep using it for cushions and blankets, and you know, even after the wedding it needs to be useful, and I can still use it around the house. Then I do have some things outside which I'll show you after. So my final thing from inside is this big boy. I don't know if you can see, there we go. This giant board, it's material, and it needs a good clean. But I got this for €15 at a brocante. I'd seen it a couple of times at a brocante near my sister's, and I never picked it up. And then I showed a picture to my fiance, and he was like, yes, please. So I asked my sister, and she kindly went to pick it up. I mean, she said any excuse to go back to a brocante I'll take. So she went and got this for me, and it needs a good clean, so I'm definitely going to do that. I'm not sure yet if I'm just going to stand it or hang it, but we'll see. I'm very happy with that. This has to be probably my favorite find recently. I mean, it's actually all embroidered on here. That must have taken ages for them to do. It's not printed, it's embroidered, and all this beautiful work. And actually the back is really nice too. Look at that print, that fabric. So nice. So I will show you when I style this and what I'm going to do with it. So at the same charity shop that was selling everything for 50% off, I found these wooden crates, and I've already got a couple. I'm going to be using them as part of our wedding decorations. So I'm just going to have them with our flowers and our plants, just to create some height and structure. So imagine like plants and flowers on top and in the crates and around them, just to create some structure. I think that's going to look really, really nice. And I'm really happy with them. I'm glad I found 4. There were 2 more, but they were just a little bit too battered, so I left those behind. And with the 50% off, they were $2.50 each. So I mean, I think they'll be perfect. I think it's going to look great. I've got a vision, and if you're interested in that vision, please do stick around. I will be sharing everything, and I'll be sharing the decorations and everything in due course as well when we're going to be setting it all up. So I'm looking forward to that when everything's going to come together, but I think these are going to look great. I obviously found more terracotta pots, and I actually also found this rather fun one. and I went to, well, you can't call it a garden centre, but it was more like a lady just selling her wares from her garage, but she was selling all sorts of fun and special kinds of herbs and vegetables. So my mum and I went, and I picked up this berries and cream mint. I mean, isn't that just so intriguing and right up my street? So I'm going to plant that up in this cute little pot. I also bought some tomatoes, which you will have already seen me plant. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is really starting to put my vision together. I also found this galvanized bin, which I'm actually going to use as a bin on the toilets at our wedding. I mean, it'll stay in theme, looks nice, and yeah, happy with that. I think I paid $6.99 for it. I want to thank you all for watching and following along with me on my journey here on this channel and my life here in the countryside. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.